We can become world leaders in digital economy, says Oshibajo. Nigeria to take lead in exports soon. IMF World Bank annual meetings opens in Washington. Plus, Taiwan stocks down 3% in mixed Asia trade. This is Business Express. I am Musa Abubakar. Well, let's begin by telling you that it is the first in-person meeting by the IMF and the World Bank since COVID-19, and a lot has happened in the global economy since then. Let's join Leah Katumba Batunde for the curtain raiser.
This is the first in-person meeting since the pandemic, 3 years after activities here were forced to go virtual. The curtains have been raised as the IMF and the World Bank open your doors to receive policymakers, the business community, opinion shapers, the civil society, and a whole lot more. For Kristalina Georgieva and David Malpas, the task is daunting as the world paddles through the murky waters of COVID-19 exacerbated by the war between Russia and Ukraine, with a global recession staring everyone in the face.
Those are all issues. World Bank has a lot of data coming out. We did our poverty report last week for the first time in 2 years, or it's a 2-year cycle. It shows 70 million more in poverty, and also very concerning, a 4% reduction in median income.
We have to join forces to help emerging markets and developing economies that are particularly hard hit by tightening of financial conditions.
They say there is a profound urgency for policymakers, international organizations, and the private sector to take decisive and coordinated action to build resilience in an era of volatility. The coming days will define the next steps leaders will be taking to not only keep everyone safe, but reduce poverty as well as position the global economy for desired growth.
Meanwhile, Nigeria's ambassador to Egypt, Noura Abbarimi, has revealed that federal government's diversification agenda is gaining momentum across Africa as Nigeria is in talks with Egypt to produce wheat and rice for export. Rimi was speaking at the ongoing Nigeria-Egypt Trade Conference in Cairo. Benny Adams has details.
Data from United Nations Comtrade on international trade reveals Egypt's exports to Nigeria in 2021 amounted to $138.4 million, while Nigeria's export to Egypt was $2.96 million in the same period. For Nigeria, it is bad news, but determined to see and take the opportunities therein.
We are on course to becoming the third largest national market in the world.
For the Egyptians, such a number is unacceptable for Africa's two largest economies combined.
68% of our export is raw material. That's wrong. We cannot allow that to happen. We should use our raw materials and make made in Africa. It doesn't matter made in Egypt, made in Nigeria, made in Kenya, made in South Africa.
Beyond the talk, one man's vision is about to change the narrative.
There are a lot of companies that we are going to kickstart like a live keen into a business in Nigeria with some Egyptian company tomorrow.
Nigeria recently opened the first export trade house in Egypt. This will serve as the central point for made in Nigeria products to be shipped to all parts of the world. And recently we started talking about Nigeria producing rice and wheat for Egypt.
Having unanimously agreed that the African continental market must work for Africa. Speakers agreed to continue the push for implementation of reforms that promote transparency, ease of doing business, and partnerships that are beneficial to all. The conference continues tomorrow with matchmaking sessions with the hope that bigger deals for Africa's prosperity will be signed.
Well, thank you, Benny Adams. Now let's take a trip to the commodities markets. And now to discussion. The Securities and Exchange Commission and the Standards Organization of Nigeria have intensified efforts in commodities ecosystem. Both parties believe that the partnership will help in grading and standardization in line with international best practices. Now, to speak on the issues around the commodities trading ecosystem, but with particular reference on assessing the importance of standards to the economy, is Dylan Clark of H&S Commodities, as well as the Publicity and Strategy Chairman, North Central of Commodity Brokers Association of Nigeria, Ishaq Malam Yahaya. You're welcome to Business Express.
Thank you very much, Abubakar.
Okay. Well, before we get into real discussion, can you just paint a picture for us what the commodity ecosystem was and why we need to engage stakeholders now?
Yes, like it's always been, when you talk about commodity is anything that has value, can be bought or sold. By going back, we are going to touch maybe for the 40 years, 50 years old persons will now know what is called commodity board. And but the commodity board was expunged through the creations of various commodity associations, championed by the industry, trade and investment. And then now they are conglomerates, in a particular or acronymized as FACAN, Federation of Agricultural Commodity Associations of Nigeria, which is now going for that to really expunge the commodity board. And then by creation, again and again, we have what is called commodity exchanges. The first one was Nigerian Commodity Exchange, Nigerian Commodity Exchange, that is NCX. And then we later have something like FX Commodity, is an exchange too for commodity platform. And then we have Giza Commodity Exchange, we have Prime Commodity Exchange, and then we have the Lagos Commodity Future Exchange. We so far in Nigeria have 5 commodity exchanges. And those exchanges are gearing towards a better commodity ecosystem, having the end users or processors like Nestle Breweries and the rest. Those creators of Indomie, baby food, and general thing that it ought to, as a process or byproduct of all this commodity. And then we have the actors, which the brokers on the exchange, the actors playing in the market, knowing the warehousing, the handling of commodity, the storage of commodity, where those commodities are, and then we see the warehouses operators. They ought to have this kind of persons.
But do this present commodity board you're talking about, do they perform the same function as?
Yes, more or less. Like they are confident in the market. we are going to create an environment.
You know why? You know why I said this? Because a lot of times farmers will complain of markets.
Oh yes, that is why we are progressing more and more.
Okay.
Because the commodity board, they are just to say, we have confidence that this is going to be this 15 naira, and then the farmers also will have confidence on them that this will be 15 naira. They'll get up, going back to farm, and then farm it and sell it at that same price. So it's connecting the buyers and sellers they do. So we are now coming up with that is the various associations, knowing what they do within the hibiscus, within the like me now, I also stand as VP commodity cowpea and beans. Yes.
So how enlighten our farmers about this commodity exchange to really take advantage of it? How informed are they? Or how enlightened are they?
This is a deliberate act by the federal government through the Nigerian Commodity Exchange as a parastatal, and then the train, also the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, they signed they do the dealing clerk, the processes, which is in 3 phases. We have the foundation, intermediate, advanced, and then you get inducted, and then you now write a dealing clerk commodity. Then those people, like we are the one to champion the sensitization on which we are doing. And this started since 2006, 2007. And then here we are. We are really sensitizing based on the associations. So we have various associations. Every commodity, every one commodity has an association. We have the wheat commodity, the association. We have the beans associations. We have the hibiscus associations. We have all over the granite and the rest. So we are sensitizing them through the FACAN. So this is where the platform, we are trying to intensify our sensitization so that the commodity ecosystem will be an organized one. Actually, where there is a low information about this commodity ecosystem based on regulation. There is like more or less over regulations, and you need to be educated in somewhat level before you really get it now. But we are trying to find it better, find a better way of sensitizing the local farmers, so as to now maybe do it in their dialect and then come up with it and to get the commodity ecosystem better.
Okay, now in 2020,
yes,
there were about 27 rejections of Nigerian products,
yes,
when they were exported. So is it the issue of standard, or what is it?
Yes, it's the issue of standard, and it's the issue of responsibility.
And I thought the commodity exchange is supposed to make sure that standards and the proper international
at the moment, I can tell you that in terms of perfection, most of these commodity exchange I mentioned earlier, they are not working as it's supposed to.
Why are they not working as they're supposed to?
Why? Because like the approach, we are here, we know that Security and Exchange Commission is actually the regulator of the market in that direction. And most of the commodity dealers and the commodity actors generally, they see no reason why so far they could go and regulate themselves and then have fee to pay at the end of every year and have some regulation fine on them, while they can do their job without no hindrance if they actually don't do that. So except when the exchange itself start regulating this thing, that is when people will see the benefit that it ought to follow this way, and that is when the commodity ecosystem will be an organized one, in the sense that a warehouse will practice warehousing, and exchange of commodity will be practiced on the commodity exchange platform. A dealing clerk of commodity will operate and accept and collect those orders to be able to execute on behalf of clients for any infraction. The infraction will come over him as an SRO, also to the commodity ecosystem, which is exchange. I mean, commodity exchange will now have itself as an SRO, also the warehouse and as SRO, which is the self-regulatory organization that for whatever that happen within the market will bear the consequence. So, and that will give a better way of handling it, that even the current issues of the foreigners coming to Farmgate, they won't get even chance to do that.
Okay, we've seen technology bridging gaps in other sectors. So where's the role of technology in all this?
Yes.
Because it seems like
the
it's
role of
taking
technology, like even in our various are saying, every good commodity broker or a dealing clerk of commodity must have a tester. The moisture, the tugs.
But do they have it?
Sorry?
Do they have it?
Yes, most of us have it, but in a few direction. You understand? So, like aflatoxin is one of the toxins that can be able to actually bring sicknesses to people for over 10 years after consuming of a particular product or commodity. So in that direction, we are trying to sensitize to also see the benefit of using all these tools to be able to test, to be able to handle, to be able to store, so as to get it right without harming citizens or the clients buying outside. Because most of the rejection is based on toxins. So, and if these things are so much that it cannot go there, Germany, Europe, and the rest, this is the issue. And we have to tackle this issue right from farm. Because a dealing clerk of commodity, he is starting his stress right from the seat. As in, if you are a miller that you are milling X, and then the other miller is doing Y, Z. The information, the processes, it demands that the cap rice or whatever rice should be a continuous type of variety of rice. That whenever you buy a particular rice, is that rice. So this is some of our.
But where are we right now? And where do we need to be? And how long will it take us to be there? Because right now we are losing a lot of money.
Yes, currently, like I said, you need to have the government being on the at the same page, but on their own they are moving. They are yet to get in contact properly with the professionals. Like now, they said, don't come to the farm gates, and then we are praying, and then they are now trying to also create a committee. After the creations of committee proper, we are going to advise them. Just send these very processes or whatever you're trying to do, creations, just allow the exchanges to do their job. By allowing the exchanges to collect these orders, they will also connect to the warehouses. And then warehouses, of course, the brokers will do their job. And I tell you, traceability will be a matter of past if actually this is done. So it's a very good one by the federal government trying to create this. On our own, we are praying that it shall come to pass. And this is exactly where we are. And the technology you are talking about is going to do a wonderful job that will give Nigeria trillions and trillions of money more than the oil.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Publicity and Strategy Chairman, North Central of Commodity Brokers Association of Nigeria, Ishaq Malam Yahaya. Thank you for sharing your thought with us.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah.
And now moving on, let's now, next is our Surviving COVID-19 series, as packaged by Olayinka Ojo.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
How long have you been doing this? Don't tell, because you go reach like 13 years now, in this area now here. That is to say, during COVID-19 you were in business. Ha, wow. How did you cope then? In that time we suffer well with Yaran, because in that time say do not even allow anybody to even come to market. Even though we trying to come, they don't even allow us to enter the market. We can stay in the gates, and we even suffer well in that time. That is what I can say. For you to even get transport to go back to home, go ahead. We are happy now because we are working normal now. No any problem. The only one to know we don't have like. About COVID-19, that is to be any government are giving to business to help them do their business. Yeah, so it's true. If the government can help us, we will like them so that we can even buy some things. Example of this phone screen now. The area we are now, you would like to get screen, but you know if you get them, you must go to Use Market or you can go to Maraba Hard Plaza to get it. So example now, if the government can help us with money, we can go Lagos and buy screen, and keep it so that if any customer come, we can just carry the screen and paste the screen to them.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Now to the currency market. Let's see how the Naira is exchanging for other currencies. And now it's time to catch up with global stock activities with Ineka Oko.
Stocks in the Asia Pacific were mixed this Tuesday, while Taiwan's benchmark index dropped more than 4% on its return to trade after a holiday. Japan and South Korea's markets also resumed trading after a holiday on Monday. Meanwhile, the Nikkei 225 in Japan fell 2.6%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index dipped 2.04%, and the Shanghai Composite in mainland China gained 0.19%. European markets retreated in early trade as concerns persisted over the global growth outlook and the prospect of more monetary policy tightening from central banks. The DAX declined 0.81%, the FTSE lost 0.76%, and the CAC fell 0.45%. U.S. stock futures traded lower Tuesday morning after the Nasdaq Composite closed at its lowest in 2 years during the regular session. The Dow Jones Industrial Average futures fell by 0.92%, while S&P 500 and Nasdaq 100 futures slipped 0.64% and 0.62%, respectively.
That's it. Business Express returns Wednesday by 3 p.m. Thanks for your company.